Welcome to Chapter Sass, the podcast where we deep dive into the books that make you blush, gasp, and maybe even think a little. I'm your host, Season, and with every book, I'll be joined with a new co-host with their own hot take. From spicy romances to messy love triangles and all the glorious chaos in between, we're here with a fresh perspective to unpack the stories we love, question what we think we know, and explore how the book speaks to us. Things might even get a little sassy. This episode is rated mature and will contain spoilers. Let's get into the first chapter. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to cover all the books of Agatar before the October 27th, Book 6 release date. If you like slightly dramatic recaps, unhinged theories, and some foul language, and knowing I won't say a single name correctly, you are in the right place. Make sure to subscribe and like this episode. Today, we're going to cover the fourth book in the Agatar series, A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas, and we're going to cover the first 14 chapters. And normally, I will say we're going to do a high-level overview of designated chapters for each episode. However, we're trying a new format today. So high level is I'm going to try to summarize each chapter into 5 sentences or less. And I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't, because some of them I did. I think there's like 5 where I think I only have like 3 sentences. Some of them I didn't because there was a lot, but it is significantly less than what I normally do all the chapters. So
Be the judge
let's
of
see
that.
how that works. After I summarize the chapters, I mean, we can get into anything that we want to, but after I summarize all the chapters, I do have like questions or things that stood out to me that we can like chat, theorize, and all this jazz. And of course, every episode will end with a sassy topic. This episode will contain spoilers for the Maasverse at this point because I'm going to start bringing in stuff. You are going to start bringing in stuff, and we're just going to have to accept that this is going to be a Maas connection spoiler. So if you ever read Throne of Glass, Crescent City, or the rest of these series, you might want to
let's pump the brakes on Crescent City spoilers. Okay, we're not
you all
really
are way
spoiling.
ahead of me. So if there's any spoilers, you all have it. But we're gonna, possible spoilers, and this will contain mature content. So let's meet our co-hosts. Hello, Andrea. How are you? How is your week going? What are you drinking?
Hi, my week is cool. I went and ordered this punk ass book because it's got important things in it. And because I need to tie it to the bonus chapters that we get with Gwen and Azriel. Is it Gwen and Azriel's or Elaine and Azriel?
It's Gwen and Azriel, but I believe that bonus chapter is in Silver Flames. But it is a Gwen and Azriel. Yeah, I have to check if there's a bonus chapter.
When he gives her the necklace?
That's in Silver Flames.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
because we haven't met Gwen yet, technically.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's in Silver Flames, but I do know the chapter you're talking about. Are you drinking anything special? Water? Some fizzy water? Some Dr. Pepper?
I have non-alcoholic wine. It's Stella Rosa Black.
Cheers.
Well, I support you in this journey, but yeah.
Cheers.
Just so that when...
Okay, wow. You really got us on that one.
Just so when Season says a name wrong, I can just take a drink instead of twisting. And
there you go. That never happens, though. Season never says anything.
Well, I say so many things. That was literally my opening line. So here to acknowledge. Right. Jody, how are you? How's your week? What are you drinking?
I'm swell. I didn't realize. I totally forgot that it's Wednesday. So like my week is flying by. I'm like a set belly queen today, so I just got some tea in my papi cup. In my papi glass.
I love it.
In your papi cup, papi chulo. That's my cup.
Hi, Derek. How are you? How's your week? What are you drinking?
Hey. Hi, everybody. I'm Derek. I like long walks on the beach and mezcal. This is just mezcal and tonic water with some ice.
Less calories here to
and in solidarity of Andrea's candy of choice, I am chewing on some Nerds gummy clusters.
Andrea's pulling out some gummies. So
yes,
guys,
lifesaver gummies. So we're twinning with the candies.
Right.
I am not going to eat this whole bag. My children had 2 or 3 of them, so if I finish it, I still did not eat the whole bag.
Love it. only because they had 2 or 3 of them, not the
It's not the whole bag.
50 that are in there. But yes, correct.
Not the whole bag.
Judgment-free zone. My week, is doing okay. Yeah. Today was the grand opening of Barnes & Noble on State Street. So everyone is like, Barnes & Noble, blah, blah. There was already a Barnes & Noble on State Street. People are forgetting. It was, like, attached to DePaul's campus, and it was very tiny. Like, when I say, like, their fantasy section probably had, like, 10 books. Their cookbooks probably had, like, 10 books. Like, it was a very small Barnes & Noble because it's, like, within the campus, but it was already there. So they just made, like, a huge store, Barnes & Noble's. It was a cute little grand opening. I was there. Then I had to go back to work. Work is work. Uh, but I decided in honor of this book, it's supposed to be Christmas, essentially. I was going to make another drink, and I didn't have all the ingredients, so this is a last-minute addition. But this is pretty much like, I call it a French 75, but it's like a French 75 with pomegranate to make the light color, and I have like a little gold rim. So, trying to give festive Christmassy vibes. So
Now this isn't for
everybody.
me, but cheers. Sorry, this isn't for me. But in case there might be somebody out there that has no fucking clue what a French 75 is, in theory, possibly. What is that?
It's gin
Never mind.
it's gin, and it's a little bit of like lemon juice. You put a little bit simple syrup. I don't always put a little bit simple syrup, topped off with sparkling wine, aka Prosecco. I like to do Empress gin normally, which is the gin that turns purple. And sometimes I put a little edible glitter, and so it looks very pretty. But that's essentially a French 75.
Gin, lemon juice, Prosecco. Wow.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, pretty much, yep.
That sounds very botanical.
Delicious. All right. Let's get into the first chapter. In this book, we get multiple POVs, which I love. First chapter, favorite chapter, which of course, favorite chapter. So most of this chapter pretty much just recaps the war. There were many casualties in the Dreamers. And in later chapters, we do see how like the Dreamers are rebuilding and how they are all coping. But pretty much in a week is winter solstice and Feyre's 21st birthday. Winter solstice is pretty much Christmas. The holiday is celebrated not just in winter court or day court, but it's also celebrated in other courts, aka the night court. And Feyre also pretty much explains how the townhouse is getting too crowded. There's like not enough privacy. There's not much space. It's a little bit foreshadowing for later, but we're starting that off right in chapter 1. Nessa has moved to a shady part of town, which we get a little bit here, but then we get a lot in Silver Flames. Lucian is also in Valaris in his own apartments because the townhouse, again, too crowded. He needs his own space. But because the townhouse is too crowded or whatnot, Feyre has not had time or space to paint. More on that later. Chapter 2. This is a little bit of foreshadowing. This is a Rhys chapter. This chapter focuses a lot on like how Rhys and Cassian are trying to make it so female Illyrians can fight. And so pretty much this chapter is about how like they're arguing with Lord Devlin, because he's not necessarily allowing the women, or I guess females, they don't say women, female Illyrians to fight. But we get more of this in Silver Flames. We get this especially with like Emery. We do meet Emery later on in these chapters, but like in Silver Flames, we get this a lot with Emery. So lovely foreshadowing. During this visit, Rhys and Cassian see like how much the Illyrians lost in the war, like death-wise. The Illyrians are kind of like spreading gossip right now. So in other words, because I'll bring this up again when there's a Rhys and Cassian, but there's like, if someone were to revolt, if the Illyrians were to revolt, is this potentially the start of it? Cassian isn't really in the mood to celebrate the winter solstice, but Rhys says he doesn't have a choice. Like, he's family, he better be there 2 days before solstice starts. Rhys highlights in this chapter how Cassian came to death's door twice. And remember, we had 2 death omens in Agawar, but he still lives, so who knows if this is foreshadowing. We also find out that Cassian and Nessa have not spoken since the war. And this is the second time, because in Feyre's chapter, they kind of mention like how they're a couple. So again, great foreshadowing for what we're going to see in Silver Flames. Chapter 3, Cassian chapter. This is a very important chapter because in the first read, I honestly missed this, but we get so much of Cassian's story, his backstory. Like, we find out about his mom's death. We know till this day, we don't know where she's buried. Cassian also talks about, and correct me if I'm wrong, with the mountain's name, Remiel.
Ramiel.
Yeah. He explains how important this is. He explains the blood riot, and we get a little bit of information on that. And so I am quoting, Remiel, the sacred mountain, the heart of not only Illyria, but the entire Night Court. None were permitted on its barren, rocky slopes, save for the Illyrians, not only once a year during the blood rite. Quoting from the book, the rite hadn't changed over the centuries. Each spring, hundreds of warriors, novices, deposited across the mountain and forests surrounding the peak. The territory was off limits during the rest of the year to prevent anyone from scouting ahead and finding out the best routes and laying out traps. There were varying qualifiers throughout the year to prove like who was ready, each slightly different depending on the camp, but the rules remained the same. Everyone competed with wings bound, no siphons, spell binding, restricting all magic and supplies beyond the clothes on their back. The goal to make it to the summit of the mountain by the end of the week and to touch the stone. And again, missed this on a first read, but this is literally half the premise of Silver Flames. I get a little bit more into it because later on, because not only is it like almost the same as Silver Flames, but like what Azriel, Reese, and Cassie went through is almost identical to what Emery, Gwen, and Nessa go through. So again, totally missed that on a first read. Chapter 4, Feyre is doing some solstice shopping in the Rainbow neighborhood quarters. Not sure what else to give it, but like the Rainbow area. Feyre meets Renessa. Could be saying that name right. Could be not. Who knows? But she is the fairy who tried to protect the building of artists and like their families when Hybern attacked in Mist and Fury. She was the one who like held like a pipe or something. Renessa pretty much tells Feyre that they remember what she did and they thank her. They are essentially just trying to give her time and space to like heal because she's done so much. There's an abandoned studio because the owner was killed in the attack. And the fairy invites Feyre that there's an open invite with her to like paint with some other artists, like along the rainbow. They do it, I believe, once a month. Later, Feyre runs into Moore shopping. Turns out Moore has been to Rita's a lot lately and has been spending a lot of time in the Winter Court visiting Vivienne, which could help relations between Winter Court and Night Court because Callias and Rhysand are not necessarily the best of friends, but this could be a way in. There's a tradition in the Court of Dreams that when they visit the court, they have to visit the Court of Nightmares each year. This year is important because Iris is there with Moore's dad, and they've been getting cozy. So pretty much Moore is just letting Feyre know that like they're heading there soon. Chapter 5, Feyre. Pretty much this chapter highlights Fae periods. So welcome to the chat, Derek. Welcome to womanhood over here. So we
I'm
talk
sorry,
about
do you forget that I have 4 daughters and an ex-wife and a sister and a partner and a stepdaughter? Or,
love
sorry, Sophie,
it.
cat's out of the bag, but like periods and menstruation and pads and tampons and bleeding, like this is part of my life. Okay,
Love
so
it. This is
I'm
why
here
you're a
for
part
it. I'm
of this.
supportive. Jotty's got a heating pad. We got Midol. We're ready. Let's lock and load, bitches.
Yes. Love it.
Let's
This is why you're part of the
fucking
podcast.
go.
Love you.
Okay.
I think Derek has more women in his life than I do, and I am one of 4 girls to a
Yeah.
single mom.
Okay. So pretty much this chapter highlights Fae periods and fertility and I guess infertility. Fae females only get their periods twice a year, but the pain is terrible. Like they are like on their deathbed. It's excruciating. Feyre finally gets hers, and she says she's not sure she got hers later on in life because she was made. So she's assuming at some point Nesta and Elaine are going to get it because, again, they were made. And so she tries to talk to them about it. And I don't remember, does Nesta get her period in Silver Flames?
I don't remember.
Me
I
neither.
don't recall.
We'll when we reread it. But anyways, my point in that is I'm not sure if SJM is gonna write like if Elaine gets her period, but I do think this is a great potential love triangle drama she could do if Elaine ever gets it. Oh, Andrea says no. Why not?
Elaine and Lucian are not going to be a thing.
No, that's not what. No, you don't know that.
Sorry. Did I jump too far ahead?
You did. They're
Sorry.
not. But what I mean is, Lucian is out in his world right now, so technically it would be Azriel who would care for her. And the reason why I say love triangle drama is because if Lucian ever came back, then that would be the drama, because he'd be like, I should be here to take care of you, blah, blah, blah.
I really believe that for this aspect of it for Elaine, it would be nice to have like the girls just be there for her from a found family perspective.
That would be Nesta then. I don't think it'd be Elaine.
Yeah, I am all for a man showing up and taking care of the girl in this specific situation. I read it all the time in my little rom-com books. But for this specifically, from like where they started as a family, like as a sister tribe with their punk ass dad, like it would be nice to see that them finally come together and help. Because Nessa was like, if you didn't know how to read, I would have taught you how to read. There's no truth in that. We want to see the action. And so this would be one of those options.
Excuse me.
And for Elaine, it would make sense for, what are the twins, the Smoky twins' names?
Unwalla and Caradwin.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Good call.
They taught her how to cook.
Good call. This chapter also just opens up the start of Feyre and Rhys potentially having a child because, we know she's fertile now. We know that the contraception is working. Pretty much just opens up the thought of them having their child. Also in this chapter, Rhys tells us how he views the sister, and I'm quoting, Feyre's like, you barely talk to Nesta. Yeah, Elaine, you talk too nicely. And Rhys says, Elaine is Elaine. And Feyre says, if you blame one, you have to blame the other. And Rhys says, no, I don't. Elaine is Elaine. So
I hated that.
I mean, I don't know what this means, except for the fact I think Elaine is still just not who we think she is. Like she's played, like she has everyone under her spell. And that is that. But I just thought that was important to throw out there. The chapter ends with us getting reminded that Rhys and Feyre made that stupid bargain, that if one of them dies, they both die. Chapter 6, Morgan. Chapter 6 is pretty much a visit to the Court of Nightmares, but this is the first time we get Morgan's point of view with her PTSD. And there's like, I don't know what it is in the book, but at least in my Kindle, it's like 4 or 5 pages of like her remembering like when she got nailed, like she was nailed in her stomach. And so I just pulled out certain quotes or terms that I'll talk with here. We can chat about it now. We can chat about it after everything. But pretty much the quotes I pulled out were, everything hurt, everything. She couldn't move, couldn't do anything but watch the sun. She couldn't turn her head, couldn't bear the agony, could not do nothing but inhale each wet, shuddering breath. Then she heard, don't touch her. It was not a warning to protect, to defend her. She knew that voice that spoke, had dreaded hearing it. No one touches her, said Eris. The moment we do, she's our responsibility. Cold, unfeeling word. Then another voice is saying, but they nailed and then no one touches her. They spiked nails into her, had pinned her down as she screamed, pinned her down as she roared at them, then begged them. And then they had taken out those long, brutal iron nails and then the hammer, 3 of them, 3 strikes of a hammer, drowned out by her screaming by pain. And then Eris says, I take it you do not wish to live here, Morgan. And then she thinks she would rather die here, bleed out. Eris takes a step away. Someone behind him says, we can't just leave her too. It's cut off. Eris says, I'm not in the habit of fucking Illyrian leftovers.
Ugh.
Yeah. So again, understanding more where her PTSD is coming from. Back into Hewn City, Moore still traumatized by this day. She feels like a coward because she really doesn't feel like she can stand up to Eris like when he is there. She also just feels like she's a little bit of a coward when she has to deal with her father. In this chapter, Eris lets everyone know that Tamlin is not enforcing his borders, meaning that anyone can access the human lands. Chapter 7 is a Rhysand chapter. This chapter starts off with Rhys and Azriel, and we get more information on Azriel. So I'm quoting, a corner of Azriel's mouth curled up, the shadows about him sliding over his neck like living tattoos. Twins of the Illyrian ones marked beneath his leathers. Shadows different from anything my power summoned or spoke to. Born of a lightness, airness meant to break him. Instead, he had learned its language. Through
Boom.
the siphons were proof that his Illyrian heritage ran true. Even with the rich lore of the warrior people, my people did not have the explanation on where the Shadow Singer's gift came from. They certainly weren't connected to his siphons, to the raw killing power most Illyrians possess and channel through the stones to keep from destroying anything in its path. So, really quickly, two things here, because I was going to bring it like once we were done summarizing, but I feel like this is way too important not to say now. I have two things to say. So these are my two things. Who is Azriel's mom really? Was she someone super powerful that like lost her magic or is in hiding? Or is this, spoiler alert for Game of Thrones, is this possibly a Jon Snow moment, meaning Azriel's real dad was someone we're not supposed to know about, and the person who Azriel grew up with is someone who treated him like shit but was like an uncle or, you know, someone who maybe thought he was the dad but really wasn't the dad.
I think we've learned throughout this entire series that the strong powers can come from either parent. It can come from father or mother. So I think that could go both ways. The Jon Snow situation, or maybe yes, his mother was the dark horse, if you would.
I love this. I hope we get more information.
Andrea, are we confirming that these shadow powers are the same that we get in Crescent City?
Just say it. I literally said spoiler alert for all Maasverse.
Yeah.
So it's the same, like, and that's not necessarily I don't see that necessarily as a spoiler. Maybe there's a correlation there. I just want to know if it's the same type of energy, same type. It's very similar.
I thought it was like blatantly obvious.
I mean, sure, but Azriel is just so much more gifted, I would say. Maybe he has so much more control than what we've been introduced to with Rune and Crescent City. But there could be a million reasons for that. Azriel's had it more for longer. He's been training it longer. What I really loved is that we got in this series of chapters, we got that little bit of backstory of Azriel, just literally a couple of sentences telling us he was tortured. Like, this motherfucker had some fucking shit done to him, and that is how he got this ability. Like, this motherfucker he's seen some dark shit, and he took and wielded that, That was hot.
Okay. Confirms that the Illyrians are spewing poison about the war. And again, just keeping this in the back of our mind. Also, because we have a little bit more information about Book 7. We know that, like, there's going to be some kind of, like, internal war or something. And so the reason why I keep saying this is it possible that this is a start of possibly an Illyrian, like they're revolting? Remember, the Illyrians are the largest army in Prythian, so if they decide to revolt, then, like, unhinged theory,
which
everyone's still recovering from Highburn, like, they would potentially win.
And to your point, the next two books are the Valkyrie movements.
Mm-hmm. So, again, because we got a little bit of a blurb of the next two books. So we also learned that the queens have not gone back to, like, their individual territories, but they are staying together in, like, their joint palace. And I'm assuming this means they just feel stronger together than separate, especially because Vassa's out there, aka the other humans who want to, come at them are out there. Hyburn's people are not thrilled. The ones who survived that weren't in the war, just like on the territory. They're not thrilled that they lost the war. and that the wall, is down and they can't like cross over. But I do think this means that there is potential that someone else will try to fill Hybern's shoes or try to work with the villain in the next 2 books. Jurian, Vanessa, and Grayson are hanging out together. Vasa is still cursed, but her keeper is allowing her for now. Oh, wait, what did I say?
Nothing?
No, I said a name wrong, but what name did I say wrong?
You said Vanessa.
Oh, okay, let me take
It's like
that
a
back.
push of Nesta and Vasa.
That is true. That is
Is
true.
Vanessa.
You're correct.
Vanessa.
So glad you corrected me.
Vanessa.
Jurian, Vasa, and Grayson are
There
all
we
hanging
go.
out together. Vasa is still has her curse, but her keeper, as of right now, is allowing her to stay out. Jurian has claimed this like unclaimed land territory at like the base of Prithian. Reese and Helion cannot undo Vasa's curse, but remember, Elaine had said how we would break this curse is with the Onyx box, so like no one's gotten this goddamn box yet. We also find out that Azrael is tracking Lucian at least part of the time. And Lucian is currently at the Spring Court. And Baraxis is still living Baraxis' best life and is on the loose. Chapter 8, Cassian chapter. Cassian is in Delirium camps, walks into a store, and we meet Emery. And, it's just so nice because, again, on our first read, didn't realize Emery was going to be this important character, but we meet her. Emery is an Illyrian who's gotten her wings clipped. She has inherited her father's store because her dad passed away in the war and she was an only child. Her father was pretty well off. So Cassian even says, again, great foreshadowing, that Emery reminds him of Nesta. Missed all this when we first read it. Cassian tells Emery that he will buy all the winter gear that she has. Cassian pays her well and then asks her to deliver it to those who are most in need and to say that it is a gift from their High Lord. And they need to say this because Cassian knows the gift will not be accepted if it is from him or from Emery. And Emery says she will make sure that, these people will accept it. Chapter 9, Farah heads back to the Rainbow Quarters neighborhood area, but she doesn't go paint with the other artists. Instead, she heads into the abandoned studio. Chapter 10, another Farah chapter. Farah starts painting again, not on the furniture in a cabin that's not hers yet, but an actual canvas. She is truly trying to heal from the war. And as much as we give her shit about wanting to color, aka Derek gives her shit about coloring and painting are very therapeutic things to do. So
Sure, yeah.
After Farah is done painting, she's not sure where to take this painting to because, again, we get reference to the lack of space and privacy at the townhouse. So she pretty much is like, I'm going to let it dry here and then I'll come pick it up and hide it somewhere in the House of Wind. Chapter 11, it's a Rhys-Sand chapter. Rhys pays a visit to the Spring Court. The Spring Court is not the Spring Court we all remember it or think it to be. Nothing has bloomed. It's pretty much a dead land. The manor is just as bad. The manor depicts all evidence of Tamlin's anger issues. Rhys notices that Tamlin is not himself, and he says this a lot in this chapter. He notices that he's depressed. Rhys hates Tamlin for everything that he put Farah through, but he realizes that Lucian, when he came to the Spring Court, it wasn't to make amends. It was out of pity. There is a brief, few chapters on how the issues that Rhys and Tamlin have before Farah about how, Tamlin is the reason why Rhys's mom and sister are gone, and then how Rhys came back and killed his brother. So, we chat about that. Rhys calls out Tamlin for not reinforcing his borders, and Tamlin is like, well, what do you want me to do? Look around. I don't have people. I don't have a court. I don't have, guards or anything. What am I supposed to do?
Wow.
But again, this is important because you have to enter the human land. You have to enter through the Spring Court. Chapter 12. Farah chapter. And there's a couple of days until solstice, and Cassian and Farah Cassian comes, and Cassian and Feyre are having like a bonding moment while they get drunk. But I think this chapter is to show us, because we love Cassian and Silver Flames, but I think this is like the start of us really, 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 like, he made sure that like the Illyrian women or families had their, the winter gear. In this, like this first few chapters, him and Feyre have like a bonding moment, and he's like twirling her around and they're just like talking. So I think this just like for us to like fall in love with Cassian even more. And the more we fall in love with Cassian, the more I do think Cheyenne is gonna kill him. Yes. I think the more, now that I'm reading this with a different lens, I do think she is gonna take him away for us. The rest of the Court of Dreams arrive. So as more Rhys and Amren, while Amren is now high fae, she still speaks her mind. She's also with Varian, and she lets everyone know that he's coming for Solstice. They're not putting a title or label on their relationship, but he's coming. And so Elaine is thriving. She's learning to cook. She is, so glad that she is now a productive member of the family, unlike when they were poor. But then we get a little bit more insight into Nessa's issues, her PTSD from like the sister's point of view. And I'm going to put this here. I have more after. I have so much more to say to this, like after we get done with all our chapters. But like, I am so over Elaine, because Nesta was there for Elaine 4 years. Did what was best for Elaine, like whatever was in her best interest. Nesta would have hurt herself, would have taken like the L, would have like thrown herself in front of, I guess, a carriage, because they don't have cars. But like, whatever for Elaine. And Elaine is like, I gave it a few months. I'm over it. I can't help. Like, but anyways, if I do remember a little bit correctly, she does help a little bit more in the rest of this book, and she helps a little bit in Silver Flames, but it's nowhere near comparable to what like Nesta did for Elaine throughout their whole life. So I don't think Elaine was being like a best big sister or middle sister in this case. But anyways, it's time for dinner. Elaine runs back to her room to like change, because she was like in her cooking clothes. Az gets all protective and like makes everyone wait for Elaine to come back. And then Feyre's like, well, what was that through the bond? And Rhys says, and I quote, let's just say it hits a little close to home. There are some scars when it comes to how his mother was treated, many scars. So again, who is Azriel really? What did he see? Like, what did he endure? Because I think there is so much more to unpack with Azriel. After dinner, Feyre decides to go find Nesta. Chapter 13 is a Feyre chapter. She finds Nesta in the shittiest bar, playing, I would assume, poker. I forgot if they said the name, with some more males. But it is noted and it is said that for every ounce of weight Elaine had gained, Nesta seemed to have lost. Great foreshadowing for Silver Flame, but goes back to my point on Elaine. It's literally been a few months and you just like gave up on your sister. But anyways, Feyre just thinks to herself, a queen without a throne. That is what I'm going to call this painting. And we get that reference again in Silver Flames. And I think this is going to be, I think we're all right. Nesta's going to be some queen of like the dead or something. She's going to rule it, but she'll finally get her throne. The reason why Nesta doesn't come to dinner is because she says she wanted to hear the musicians play. Personally, I'm glad I'm rereading, because I don't remember if this is important to her dad, but is there a reason why she wanted to, I forgot, like hear the musicians? Do we know? We'll find out if we don't remember.
I mean, personally, I just took that as a bullshit reaction to why she didn't want to come to dinner. Like, I couldn't come to dinner because I had to wash my hair.
I thought there was a reason, but maybe you're right, because Nessa is in her bitch era right now, so that's fair. Nessa agrees to come to Solstice only if Feyre pays her rent. Chapter 14, a Rhys chapter. Rhys and Mor finally have a heart-to-heart because they have not done so in a while. Rhys says he noticed that when they were in the Hewn City, she was distant, and again, this is when Mor was remembering everything that had happened to her. Rhys says, and I quote, another casualty of the war is working with Mor's dad and Yari's had done something in his cousin. And I think that is a very powerful line. And I think we are going to get more of Mor's story in the next 2 books. Rhys also pretty much lets Mor know that her father will be coming to Valaris soon. They don't plan on him staying long, but this is just a heads up. It is a possibility. But Rhys also tells Mor that he needs help to like bring the rest of the kingdoms together. So she will be away for a while, like she was in the first war when it happened, because she'll essentially be paying like emissary. Why can't I talk today? But you know what I mean. Like she'll try to bring everything together. But this also means that more in the first war, because she said she was never at home and people weren't like checking in on her. That's when she got to be herself. That's when she forged these relationships with other females. So again, I think this is just opening the door for more to be able to be okay to finally tell people. End of the 14 chapters. How was that recap, guys? How'd you like it?
Wow, flew by. That was good. Honestly, I think it was really good. We could get lost in the weeds, I think, on each one of these chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Touching back on something that I can't remember if I put in the chat or if I was talking to Jody about, but
you put something in the chat to remind us, so I'm so glad you remember because I forgot. But you did.
Yeah, it's what I put a few things in the chat to remind us about, but one of them wasn't really relevant to this part of the story. But um, looking back on my first read through, I was so invested in the overall plot, I would say, the overall storyline of what was happening with Feyre and Rhysand, the Night Court, etc., that like in a lot of these stories, I skipped a lot of shit because it just didn't interest me. I was so invested in like what's happening with Rhysand, what's happening with Feyre, what's happening with this baby, that like these individual stories of like Cassian, Moore, Asriel, all that shit, I really didn't pay attention to. So like looking back, I saw Frost and Starlight as a bullshit Feyre novella, and now I'm understanding the insane amount of context that we are getting to this world of Prithian, to this era of Fae, to these leaders, these massive, magnanimous people that are leading this this generation of Fae. And I'm a little upset with myself that I missed out on that the first go around. But we're like you had said earlier, we're just picking up so much more because we have the context of the rest of the series, both the finish of what we did in Silver Flames, and then going back and rereading it and picking up more, and now getting to Frost and Starlight. We're like, holy shit, there's little pieces here and here that we never would have seen before. I'm actually enjoying it a lot more than I thought it.
Mm-hmm. I have to agree with that. Well, so first of all, I didn't hate Frost and Starlight. I already said that. I didn't hate it.
We know.
Yeah, I didn't hate it either.
I didn't hate it. I will say I agree with you, and I will say, because I had done maybe like the first few chapters before we got the blurb on book 6 and 7. Then when we got the blurb on 6 and 7, I think I read the rest of the chapters with an even more open mind to be like, why is this in here? Like, I didn't pay attention to more at all. And now that I know that we're going to enter the Autumn Court, I have no idea if that means anything with more. But my assumption is it might. I'm paying so much more attention to her now about all of this. I also do think, Andrea, you said this first, that like Moore and Emery will get together. So I'm just like paying attention more. It's so hard to say more and more. Maybe I need to say the Morgan. Like, I'm paying so much more attention to Morgan. And like, is there anything that could possibly bring up Emery? Or like, is she finally going to tell the world that she prefers female? So I do agree that I am reading this chapter with more of an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
I want to add something. So I'm rereading it with my eye on Elaine.
Yeah.
And I just have to point out the fucking double standard of Elaine is just being polite. So she's just kind of ignoring Lucian. Every time he's around, she just kind of ignores him and just being polite until he like goes away. First of all, if I'm your mate and you're blatantly ignoring me like that, that's not being polite. That's mad disrespectful, right? But right when we were talking about Iris, y'all can take a drink. I don't know how to say that shit. When he's like ignoring more, is it more?
Yep.
Reese was like, "Oh, how the most disrespectful thing you can do is ignore somebody like that."
Mm-hmm.
But when Elaine does it, it's okay. It's polite. Like, what the fuck is that all about?
Telling you, I've been saying this since forever. Elaine is not who we think we are. And now that I'm rereading this, the most unhinged theory popped into my brain. And I'll tell you this at the end. But I'm thinking something will pop. I will let you guys know.
Why wouldn't you just tell us now?
Because I bring like another example up, but I'll say it when I bring that line in.
Okay, fine.
I'll tell you. So I'll tell you in seconds. Okay. So now that we did a quick summary, because everyone should have read each of these books by now. I'm gonna like pull out things that I said. So like this is for us to debate, to talk about, add any of our unhinged theories or things like that. Chapter 2. We get sex scenes without getting sex scenes. And this is the first time I'll probably agree with Andrea that we didn't need the actual physical sex scenes. We just could be told about them because I don't like sex for sex. I like, if it's like part of the plot, that's okay. But in this book, because we really don't get any sex scenes, SJM gives it to us without giving it to us. Like in this chapter, recent favorite do it like in the air. Then he remembers the dining room table. And then like later on, like Feyre remembers like the dining room table because like they bring up hate. So I do love this because we get that without getting it. But also in chapter 2, and again, I'm quoting, so 2 hours, this is between Cassian and Rhys when they were visiting the Lyrian camp. It says, 2 hours in the ring each morning, Cassie had said. The boys can help decorate, clean, cook. They've got 2 hands. And then Devlin says, well, some of them do. Some came home without one. And I love how SJM tried to challenge the norm, but like also keep it real. But I think because there has to be a reason why we're learning so much about the Illyrian stuff, and that it even mentions in this book that they're the largest army. And we're supposed to get a betrayal. What if this is the start of like the Illyrians starting to revolt? Like, do we think one of the Bat Boys could be? I know we're all thinking possibly Azrael because Cassian we think is gonna die. But like, is this the start of us potentially getting like the Illyrians, are gonna want change or something?
I think you're onto something. I think that they really are setting up like civil unrest, and potentially like some sort of a civil war within the Illyrians, and rebelling against what the structure that Rhysand has set up. But with Rhysand being, he's always the most powerful High Lord that has ever existed or will ever exist. Like that's almost like Selena Sardathian, Adarlan's greatest assassin. Like that's part of his title. I don't know how they would play it to where he, wouldn't just squash a rebellion, but it definitely feels like they're setting us up for some kind of Illyrian rebellion. I like where you're going.
I love that. The next little quote or something that I noticed just goes to add to our Azrael kind of theory, which we kind of already agreed on. And it says, this is from Cassian's point of view, and he's saying, not widowing, though that would have been one hell of a weapon against enemies in battle. He's seen Rhys do it with devastating results, Ass too, in his strange way that Ass could move through the world without technically widowing. So again, who is Azrael? And I also think, and I didn't really like think about this until I started rereading this book, but there is clearly a hierarchy of power, and it is clearly Rhys as Cassian. Like, right? Like, that is the hierarchy of power, magic, whatever. So could Azrael potentially overshadow Rhys, like if he's not at full capacity or something?
I don't think they're in the same scale.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I think you can't measure what they have because it's not on the same plane. Like, what Azrael this is my theory. Nothing's confirmed. There's like nothing on the page. This is just my unhinged. I think what Azrael has or whatever, because we don't know anything about his parentage, correct? And for like 5 seconds, like when we were just yapping right now, Devlin has hazel eyes, and so does Azrael, right? I know Devlin for sure has hazel eyes because
Cassian, I thought had hazel eyes.
Does he? Okay, cool.
I think it's Cassian.
Because for like a second, I was like, oh, maybe that's Dad. And then I was like, hang on a second. What if Azrael is something? And that is where I think his powers, you can't compare him to I'm just gonna say it. I think Azriel's made.
Oh, I love this. When I get to the end of Crescent City, I'll probably get where you're coming down with this.
I don't even
love
feel
it.
like that because of Crescent City. I feel like that because of like everything we're describing right now.
Okay.
So when you talk about like Nesta took something from the cauldron and Elaine was given something, even though we don't get on the page Azriel, like whatever, he talks extensively about his torture. And I also feel like
Yeah.
Rhys knows more about everything than he's letting on, even in his POV, because he's so blasé.
Yeah,
I
and you
agree
know
with that.
what? Now that you say that, when Rhys was reborn, if you will, he said, "I didn't take anything from you guys. I didn't take it." Like, why would you even say that?
I
From the
think
other
so
High
that the
Lords?
other High Lords didn't think he would be even more powerful with his powers the way Feyre did.
Okay,
But
but remember, Feyre didn't take the power. It was given to her.
Okay, fair.
Okay, but Rhys made it a point to say, "I didn't take anything from you guys." Why? Why did you say that?
You see, yeah, he's like, he's not old for no reason. Like he knows some stuff. He inherited some stuff. There's some stuff. Yeah.
Okay, I like it. The next
you
little
think we're
Now
gonna
that
get
you're
a
saying that, I'm sorry. Now that you're saying this whole like, ask, you think he was made, and like, where does he get his powers from, and all that shit. Now that makes me feel that reminds me of how Feyre's like, where do I put this picture I painted? She's like, maybe in a pocket between realms or something. Like,
yes.
is this how this guy is moving around?
Oh,
In his shadows. Yes, that's what I was gonna say. He's and then side note, you guys, when they say Elena's a seer, what if she's not just seeing? What if she's seeing between worlds and Azriel sees her and she sees him, like that type of symbolic? I don't
And I
know.
looked at him.
It's all so crazy.
He looked at me.
I like this because I do have a little bit later. What if we say she's a seer? And I've seen this on like social media a lot. Everyone is saying, and someone actually commented on one of my videos that like they don't think Elaine's an actual seer or what we think a seer is. She's something that or more.
Yeah, because in here it said
that.
something about oracular, which for like 5 seconds I was like, ooh, spiders. But then it's actually related to Oracle. So
yeah, I'm loving this. Loving these theories. Loving this. Can't wait for the next few books. Okay, the next thing I have written is Feyre sees shit and she decides to be like, oh, this is the painting I'm going to call Frost and Starlight. I thought it was terrible, but clearly because that's the title, I decided to bring it up. But anyways, next one. Question for you. Rhys tells Feyre, you were born on the longest night of the year. You were meant to be by my side from the very beginning. Do we know when the rest of the sisters' birthdays are? Because it's not coincidence. We already think Mama Artron is someone important. Feyre was clearly born on this day. She was seen when she was with Rhys. She saw, that's why she painted the night sky on her drawer. We know Elaine is this. Like, do we know the other sisters' birthdays by chance? Or is it just Feyre? I don't remember. We're doing a reread. So maybe we'll be told.
I don't recall anything on that.
I don't recall either.
Okay, that's fine. So then, okay, so in chapter 6, I said this line, I'm not in the habit of fucking Illyrian leftovers. In this chapter, Moore acknowledges it again outside of when like she's remembering herself happening. Like she remembers this, she says this line again. So my next question is if we think Emery and her are endgame, will this bring any issues because Emery is Illyrian?
no, I don't think so. I mean, she's a girl. Boys are icky. I think that's
Agreed.
all we're trying to get from that.
Derek,
but I like
agreed. Yes.
I like your like trying to like all Illyrians are, because that's kind of the theme that they put up here. But no, I think that because Emery. Oh my God. Emery is kind of an open-minded individual because of what happened to her. I knew it.
Okay, still on more. She says to herself, her gift is truth, but it is also a curse. What are our thoughts on that? Do we have any theories? Do we have anything? I just thought that was a great line. I have no theories.
I mean, they've said that before.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't gotten enough of like what her actual gift as the Morrigan is. Like, does she cause people to tell the truth? Like, does she have Wonder Woman's golden lasso that she can like fucking make people tell the truth of what's going on? I don't get it. I don't have enough idea of like what exactly that entails. Somebody please clue me in.
Today I read something and it was like the truth is a sharpened sword. It can cut us, but it can also protect us. And when you think about the Morrigan in that she is truth, it's a hard thing to unpack because we haven't gotten much of her backstory at this point.
That's fair. Maybe something just for us to keep in the back of our heads for when we get more of her backstory. My next super unhinged theory.
So much better.
My next super unhinged theory. Let's see what you guys think. Okay. So I noticed this in the last book. Every time Moore had to interact with her dad. And then in this book, in this chapter where it was her chapter, she was like, my dad was like looking at me and like I could see it. And she was saying all this stuff in her head, right? Because she hasn't forgiven her dad. She hasn't done anything. What if her dad was an asshole, but him looking at her now, him doing all this now could be out of a place of love. And I'm putting love in quotations for the people who don't watch and who are listen, because do we think Papa, Moore's dad might potentially get a redemption story? And the reason why I'm saying this is because, spoiler for all of the rest of the Maasverse, Sarah J. Maas loves to write a redemption Papa story. So we have Papa Archeron, at the end of the day, comes through for his kids. Don't have glass spoilers. I forgot everyone's name, so I'm going to describe them. We have the dad who was Vogue, who like protected his family, and he was like,
Dorian's
what? Redemption.
Dorian's father, yeah.
Yeah. Then we have the dad who was the prince who like died because he had the blood that was under Maeve's control. The dad, he came in through like when they were like touching the sword and they were going to kill themselves. How were they able to fix the
word gate?
Yes. The dad
with the word
died.
Keys?
He took the place of the cousin. Yes. Okay. So my point in all this is Sarah J. Maas redeems the fathers. I haven't read Crescent City and I haven't made it to the end.
Oh,
to me, this one might be a redemption story.
She's setting it up. Fears.
But I'm also on chapter like 8. So
I don't. It's not the dad you think.
Oh,
okay.
But yeah.
But do we think that maybe Moore's dad is going to have a redemption? My whole point in this super unhinged theory.
He's going to die.
I don't doubt he could die, but do we think he'll somehow get redeemed is what I'm trying to say.
Andrea thinks everybody's going to die.
She's got to kill somebody off.
You haven't even seen Game of Thrones. You would love it. Everybody dies.
Everybody dies. That's what makes Game of Thrones so good.
Why do you think I was hooked on Crescent City? Because everybody died in the first 60 pages. And I was like, cool, I didn't remember nobody's name anyway.
Okay. Back to my point, though, my unhinged theory. Do we think she might be... do we think,
she's gonna
Moore's
give
dad
Kiera
might have a redemption story?
What would the benefit be? What would that do for the plot?
I don't care if he gets one or not.
No, I'm just saying she just has a theme. And so maybe in the next, because we know that there's about to be a war or something, maybe he sacrifices himself for more. I don't know.
I would think that Eris's dad would get a redemption arc before Kier does, because we've seen more of the nasty nonsense crap and all of the scheming and manipulation against Eris's dad. What's Eris's dad's name? Baron, right?
Yeah.
And
interesting. I think we wouldn't, because as far as we know,
he's a pawn.
Well, as far as we know, Kier doesn't beat on like his wife or whatever, we know that Baron does. So I think Baron would be the one not to get a redemption sword.
I think Baron and Kier are like besties, but we just got more background about Baron because of his mama, daddy, baby situation. Versus Kier, he's a pawn. Like he was literally like he's filler. He's filler on purpose. He was like the figurehead they put in place to for the Human City. So like in all of the aspects, they're just moving him around as a device to help put everything else into place. I think he's very filler. Because we're getting like something super cool out of Elaine, who we thought was filler. And even in Frost and Starlight, she's like, she ain't there, you guys. I don't know if you keep that. She's quiet. We get a little bit of this, but otherwise she's normal, regular. Whereas I personally do not believe that Kier will make it.
Okay. That works. Like I said, super unhinged theory. Chapter 11. This is when Rhys visits Tamlin. Rhys thinks to himself, Lucien is hunting for food because there were no servants here to make food or buy it. I couldn't say I felt bad for him, only for Lucien once again stuck being his crony. And as much as Andria thinks he's gonna die, I think this is too much of a line to show that Lucien has been just shitted on over and over and over again, that he is about to be a very important character. So I do not think he's gonna die.
Wait, what did you say? What was the line?
This is chapter 11 when Rhys visits Tamlin at the Spring Court. And so Rhys asks, like, where's Lucien? And Tamlin says, hunting for dinner. And then Rhys thinks to himself, hunting for dinner because there were no servants here to make food or buy it. I couldn't say I felt sorry for him, aka Tamlin, only felt sorry for Lucien, once again stuck being his crony.
And so from this, you believe that Tamlin will resurface as a main character again?
No. I'm saying this shows once again that Lucien is just being shit on over and over and over again, that like he is about to be an important character. I don't think this has anything to do with him.
Oh.
Like, I don't think we're killing off Lucien or anything. Yeah. Like, I think this is yet another line to prove that he's going to be important.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant Tamlin. Go ahead.
Yeah. This is yet another reason why I said what I said, you know. Anytime Lucien is going to be with Tamlin, he is just dragging himself down. You know, you're not, there's no, dude, you went all the way over there to help that guy out or to be by his side for the fucking holidays or whatever. And instead of you bringing him out of his funk, he's just making you fucking fetch his food.
What did we say? And this is actually what I wanted to pin in the conversation.
No, because Tamlin actually says in this chapter that, because I think Rhys says that, oh, you made him go get that. And Tamlin says he left before I woke up. So like Tamlin didn't know.
That doesn't change what she's saying. That doesn't change what she's saying. What we had come up with was the hand that you extend to help someone up, they will use to pull you down. And that is what Tamlin is doing. Lucien is trying to give Tamlin a hand up to pull him out of the bullshit fucking rubble misery that his life is. And all Tamlin is doing is pulling Lucien down into the fucking mud. Every fucking time. Because Tamlin won't help himself.
This part I agree with you guys with. Like I said,
I know what you're saying, Season. I know you're like, but he's out there hunting on his own will. Tamlin didn't make him, didn't he though? By being helpless, aren't you basically saying?
Yeah, because Tamlin could have got up and did it, but instead, he's letting somebody else do it for him.
But to come at you guys, the next thing I have written here is, I've said this before, that there's like trigger warnings, there's like some suicide talk with Tamlin. In this, Rhys realizes that when he whittles out, there are no wards. And then Rhys even says, as if he was waiting for someone to slit his throat. So Lucien showing up, he didn't know Lucien was going to show up. I take that as Tamlin's done with life. Like, he is done. Lucien is inserting himself in as like, there's no food. I have to get food, because he's there for pity. He's not there to do anything. Like, Tamlin doesn't care
You're
if there's food
saying
in the house,
Lucian is
because
there
he's
for
at this
pity?
point he's trying to die, or he's going to take whatever consequences get to him. Lucian left before he woke up. He didn't do that. Like, there's no wards around the house for him. So what you guys are saying, I don't think goes necessarily with what's happening, because the book, and I think in the next few chapters, or in Starlight, or in Silver Flames, I forget which one it is, Rhys visits Tamlin again, and that is when the really big trigger, it is like implied that like they need to watch out for Tamlin because he could potentially kill himself. So like, there's no food in the house because he's not trying to feed himself, and he didn't expect Lucian to show up to do it. Lucian's doing that because he needs to eat, and he needs, he's like, I'm gonna feed Tamlin.
Okay, but you're still making my point. Somebody has to come save this guy.
He's not asking to be saved, though. That's suicidal people are not asking to be saved.
Let him go. Somebody come take him. His wards are down.
Okay, but let me say this. I think that Rhysand, being the person he is, he's going to end up taking Tamlin under his wing.
Ugh.
Okay, so next unhinged theory that I have.
I'm ready.
What if, so I love your theory, and maybe Rhys does do this. Maybe he does. What if, because SJM said in her interview that she had to be very careful about how she writes Tamlin if she were ever to give him a redemption arc or end like that. She just said she has to be very careful because so many women like resonated with this story and whatnot. So what if Tamlin finds his mate is human, because he's done with the Fae world anyways. He decides to give up all this shit, Irish goodbyes, leaves his land like unprotected, and somehow the power just transfers to Elaine, and she becomes the ruler of the Spring Court.
Why?
And this is a way to get rid of Tamlin and give the power.
I hate all of that.
I still need to understand why you're hellbent that Elaine is going to inherit the Spring Court.
Because she likes flowers.
I agree with that.
Stuff.
I agree with Elaine inheriting this, or taking the Spring Court. I say taking, not inheriting. Taking the Spring Court. Lucian takes the Day Court, wherever Helion is from, and then they merge the solar and lunar, or the solar and seasonal courts.
No, and no, that won't happen. I'm sorry.
I get it, but I don't like it. Like I get it. It makes sense, but I don't like that shit.
How foolish would you be to believe that all Elaine would want is the Spring Court and not all Prithian?
I'm not saying that's
she
all
wants
she
more,
wants, but she's
going to use Lucian to get the rest of the fucking courts.
I don't think she is. I think Lucian's going to end up with Vasa.
Oh, I have my opinions on that too. Yes. So now we're talking about this. We'll talk about that later. Okay. Chapter 12. This is the sisters chapter. It's like when the sisters are interacting. Nesta says, not Nesta. Feyre says, Nesta is still part of the family. Elaine says, is she? As she's like cutting bread like it's nothing. She certainly doesn't act that way. Feyre hides a frown and says, did something happen when you saw her today? And the reason why Elaine is saying this is because Nesta said, you have your life to live, I have mine. All I'm saying is Nesta would have given Elaine like the last piece of food that she had when they report. She would have given her coat if that's all she had. And like, it's been like 3 months and Elaine's like not even trying with Nesta. But I have more, because there was a line that I missed, and now that I saw this line, I was like, oh my God. So I'm just getting down to that. So then because Nesta had said, you have your life, I have mine, Feyre's like, that's fine to say to me, but not to Elaine, because, goes to my thing with Nesta loved Elaine, would have never have said that shit to her. But anyways, then Elaine says, are you asking me as her sister or as a seer? And so Elaine is getting ballsies now, in my opinion, because this bitch was never ballsies before. And she's saying that, but they're pretty much saying that they don't know if she has her powers ever since the cauldron has been remade.
She may have always been ballsy, but she was never upfront about it, at least to Feyre.
So
have you guys ever thought about how much of the seer shit is happening off the page?
Mm-hmm. All the time.
I don't think a lot of seer stuff is happening. So I think that Elaine might be something else, and we're saying she's a seer because none of her predictions have actually really came true.
She's not predicting nothing. She's already seeing it. It's a thing.
So then
Yeah, it happened. It happened at the end. No, it happened at the end of last book. She was predicting stuff that was going to happen, and then it happened.
Okay, maybe.
What do you mean, maybe?
You.
Yeah.
I'll take
Okay.
maybe.
Hello,
I guess
twin
I'll take
ravens.
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, twin ravens. You know,
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Okay,
Bird
fine.
Queen. Hello.
She predicted the two guards in the library.
Okay, fair.
I
have more evidence to also support my theory. So, unhinged theory, here we go.
Let's go.
During this chapter, also, Elaine asked Amren, because Amren is now High Fae. Elaine asked Amren, like, why did she choose this body? Could she change it? And Amren pretty much replies, you cannot go back to being a human. But what if Elaine is asking for something else and not necessarily to turn back to human?
That's what I
same.
Yeah, that's
and
why I was
now,
so annoyed with Feyre. Like, don't talk to her like that. Like, shut up, Feyre. She's not even meaning it like that, you stupid ass. Pay attention.
And my last thing with Elaine is, and I'm saying this and I'm quoting because they're talking. This is when Feyre is at the pub with Nesta and they're talking about like how Nesta is acting, and Feyre's like, well, why didn't you come to dinner? And she's like, because I wanted to hear the music. It's like crowded here. And Feyre's like, Elaine can't go because it's crowded. So now I'm pulling lines exactly from the book. The book says, and I quote, Elaine is overwhelmed by crowds. That is what Feyre says. And Nesta says, she didn't used to be that way. Nesta twirled her glass of amber liquid. She used to love balls and party. Why? Okay, the most unhinged theory I possibly could have, but it's important that there's that line. I've always thought Elaine was someone else or something, but what if, because this came to me also when Andrea said, what if she's hiding tattoos? What if when she got kidnapped and she followed and she went to Hybern's camp because the cauldron was there and she was next to the cauldron, what if something like went into Elaine? And this isn't the Elaine that we think it is, because after she gets caught, after Azriel saves her, she fights off like the guy who was on her. She all of a sudden like helped, like she's doing a lot more uncharacteristic Elaine shit. She doesn't like crowds anymore. She used to. She's asking questions about changing your body. She's not, again, Nesta was always had Elaine back, and it's been like 2 months and Elaine's just like given up on Nesta. What if she's
maybe she has a symbiote? Maybe she has a parasite living in her?
Yes, like what if it's something? What if, because there's supposed to be a betrayal or whatever, what if Elaine is the betrayal, but she's not really Elaine? It's this parasite or whatever. Then Azriel, because he thinks he loves Elaine, gets the Illyrians to fight or do whatever. Somehow Elaine gets the fucking Spring Court, but then the parasite dies, and that's how she gets the Spring Court. Unhinged theory, but what do we think about this? Like it's a Vogue, like a Vogue or whatever is in her.
Yes, I was just getting ready to say, why would you do this? Now we got to reread everything.
We already have to reread everything.
No, we don't.
You guys,
like,
that is
what
so
if we
on
think
brand.
That's it?
I don't know about a parasite or like a possession though.
I mean, like a Vogue, like because that was Throne of Glass.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I love it.
Like with the
I
collar?
love it. I love
Remember
that.
the collar?
Yeah.
A Vogue has a much better possibility, I think, than like a parasite. But like you're saying, a Vogue or a collar or something like that. Yeah.
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 Because Elaine's personality changed I mean, it was changing beforehand, but it changed drastically once Azriel got her out of the camp.
She went into the camp, and then Hybern put the Vogue collar
in her.
Oh my God! No.
And it doesn't have to be necessarily around her neck. It could be anywhere. No.
Right. It could be
but
one of those rings.
She all of a sudden picked
she
picked the clothes that covered her.
She's still wearing her ring her engagement ring.
Ooh, yeah. That sounds fun. I like that.
How are we liking this unhinged theory?
That's
So
good.
it's not unhinged.
I love
What
that.
sucks is if this isn't the case and we've built it up to this expectation, I'm going to be pissed.
I
Yeah, but
Because
know.
this is
I know.
the
If
ring
I
is
figure
such a
it
good
out,
tell.
I deserve a bottle of wine from all you guys. That's all I'm saying.
and it's on order. Say less, girl. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Let me write this down. Hold on. Let me tell chat.
Yeah, I
Like-
love that.
Because we know someone's going to betray the core. I don't think Azriel's going to do it on purpose. I think Elaine and Lucian are endgame. I think whenever this Vogue's out of her or whatever, I think they're going to be endgame. I think Lucian, I saw this theory online, so this is not my theory. But the theory was, we all think Elaine's going to reject the bond. What if it's Lucian who actually rejects the bond, but then that makes Elaine kind of jealous? Maybe she does her thing or whatever, and then that forces them together. Like Lucian does get with Basta because he's like, you don't love me. But then because...
I think he's gonna reject the bond. I mean, how many times more are you
Yeah.
gonna fucking embarrass him and ignoring him? I would be out.
Yeah, but because
would've
he
bounced a
rejects
long
the
time ago.
bond, that forces Elaine to come forward. And maybe the bond, maybe that heartbreak is what, if there is a Vogue in her, I don't know, maybe that is what puts her forward, because I do think Elaine is important at the end of the day, or has more power than what we think. Maybe she needed that pain or something, or the mate bond is going to help. But I do think Elaine and Lucian will be endgame at the end of the day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can I
The
also
only
just bring
reason why I'm
something up?
struggling. Yes, tell us. No, go for it.
No, it's something so small. It was this bit where Elaine was said hello to Azriel, and he goes, "Sit, I'll take care of it." And I was like, "Yes, I ship them. Where's the ship? I'm shipping it. Yes." Anyways,
I
go.
like it. I hate it so much.
No, but
I hate it so much.
I think if Lucian rejects the bond, she'll go to Azriel. I
Yeah.
do think that's going to happen. I do think that will be a plot. Like I said, I don't think they're
Ugh.
endgame, but I think that will be a plot.
I hate it.
It's so
Okay.
unoriginal.
I hate it, but exactly what you're saying was what I was gonna bring up. Is like, damn, I want to believe this whole Vogue thing, of course, because it's fucking badass. But just like those little moments between her and Azriel are just like, oh, you gotta be a real person with a real heart to feel the things that Azriel is doing. You know what I'm
Maybe
saying?
she
Like,
is. Maybe she can
Remember-
control it half the time and doesn't. Because remember,
I
the
was gonna
dad.
say, remember the princeling and witchling with Manon and Dorian.
Mhm.
She when Manon said to Aelin, stupid whatever, she was like, the he's still in there. Like
Mhm.
Manon said that to, and he, yeah.
And remember, the dad kept, even though the Vogue was in him, he kept the
Pushing
location
back.
of one of the keys separate. So like they're still in there, depending how powerful they are still in there. So like
Yeah.
Elaine could still be in there.
Yeah.
She's
just not
in there
fully
watching,
her.
and then the Vogue
Yeah.
has access to all of the,
Mhm.
it's crazy.
yeah.
So I'm going to be
Which-
paying attention to a lot more of Elaine and Silver Flames, because I know she does like some scrying and stuff. I want to see if it works. I forgot, like, right? Like now I'm like really paying attention to these things. So I'm just super excited. Okay.
Oh my God.
Sassy topic, really
Ooh.
quick. So we kind of talked about it, but because we didn't go in depth with everything, we're going to talk about coping strategies and whatnot. We haven't reached the end of the book, but so far we've kind of reached how each member of the inner circle is kind of coping with where they are with their trauma. And so what are strategies that we think are healthy? What are some that we think are not healthy or could be in denial? What are we noticing of things?
You mean like,
Yeah.
what are their coping mechanisms that they're
Like, what are
using
we just
that
noticing? Like, yeah, like,
Yes.
what are there? Is it healthy? Is it not healthy? I'm someone who I feel like I've experienced a lot of trauma in my life, and I have definitely ways. I think depending on the
I
trauma,
think-
I have ways of coping with certain things.
I think Nesta's got it on lock. I think she's got the right idea.
She doesn't
No,
necessarily
she
have the
don't.
right
I'ma try it.
idea, but I
I'ma
do
try it.
think there's like the 7 stages of like grief, right?
Try
and
it.
she's going through it.
She said, "Fuck around, see what happens."
Yeah, go do it. Do it. Have a
Do it,
blast.
lady.
I will
Okay.
say this before we actually get into your Sassy topic, because we were just talking about Tamlin and all that shit. When Reese was leaving Tamlin, he was really fighting with himself. If you remember, he was like, God, that guy's pathetic. I feel so sorry for him. Like, and then he was like, wait a minute, he fucking did this himself. He deserves all this shit. Like, Reese is battling with himself, trying
Yeah.
to decide whether or not
Yeah.
he should help Tamlin or if Tamlin truly deserves this. And
Yeah.
So
that's where I struggle too with Tamlin's story. Like, I get I know that you love him ever so much. And,
do you not love Tamlin for the
She ships
1,000th
him.
time?
She ships them.
but yeah, I don't
Mm.
know. I think Reese he's really battling with it. So even he has to deal with what am I going to do about Tamlin?
So to kind of piggyback off that, and maybe I'm bringing my own personal traumas into this or whatnot. And I've said this before, like, I don't believe in like the death penalty. I think there are punishments that are worse than death and whatnot. I do think like we also shouldn't be like suicide's important and whatnot. So I think Jody, while he's struggling with himself, is because at the end of the day, I don't think Reese would wish death on anyone, right? But
No.
like Tamlin is clearly showing those signs, and like he's depressed. He clearly is potential or like suicidal. All these other things. I think he's wrestling with he deserves everything that he's gotten because like he put himself in that situation, but like he doesn't necessarily deserve to die.
Yeah, I get
That's what I'm getting. Do you know what I mean? Like he deserves to be punished and deserves to suffer, but like he doesn't necessarily deserve to die. So, and I wouldn't want Tamlin to like take his own life either. Like I know he's like the bad guy, but like that's
I
definitely not
don't
the
know that
ending I want
SJM
for
is going
him.
to
Now,
write
if he
that.
is killed for
Yeah, I don't think so.
whatever in war or whatever, some say whatever, that's different. But I don't want Tamlin to die via suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I think that the coping strategy I liked the most was Feyre painting, but not just her painting, but she's like self-reflecting and using that
Yes.
to inspire her. So like from the Ouroboros, the thing that was supposed to break her is now freeing her. And thankfully she's not just drawn on people's walls and stuff, but like she's utilizing this void, which put a fucking sticky note on that, by the way. This void situation, this void business. But she's
Yeah.
using that as an outlet to really like she's not disassociating from it. She's like living in it in the thing that she loves the most, which is painting. And I think that's like such a healthy way to cope.
And yes,
Yeah, I
and
love
she
that.
has the forward thinking to say maybe other people could benefit from this too. How
Yeah.
great would it be if I can experience this alongside somebody else?
Yes.
Love it. So I'll bring up one that I don't know if we think, because obviously we know like Nessa's in denial or whatever, but Cassian, I feel like he's also in denial and he's hiding it behind not that he's not a good person and he doesn't do good things, but he's hiding it, at least in these chapters, by going above and beyond
The
and doing all these
selfless
extra good things. He
deeds.
says it at one point in honor of his mom, but I think because it says he hasn't faced Nesta. He didn't even want to go to Solstice because Nesta was going to be there. Like Cassian's also in denial, but he's hiding it by being like an even better guy.
I love Cassian, but that motherfucker, he can't face his feelings in a mirror. Like he can't do shit to actually talk about what he's feeling. He has to fight it out, punch it out, work it out, or work out it. Like he's not great at like experiencing and articulating his emotions.
Yeah. That sucks for him. That's probably why he was fucking Nesta the whole time.
You know what I mean? Like calls to like.
Oh my God. Yo, that's going on the shirt.
Yep.
Yeah, horny bastard calls to a horny bastard.
That's what I'm saying. Look at us. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, love it.
Shut up.
All right. Anything that stood out to you guys, since this was a completely different format, how'd you like this format?
It was perfect.
When I edit this, will probably be lower than what we've actually recorded. So how did you like this format?
It almost feels like we went a little deeper because you went chapter. But to your point, you stayed like concise, the important points. It's high level. We're still giving our theories. We're still like interacting. And I think it was great, especially for Frost and Starlight, which we now realize is pretty impactful. So
it's way more than we gave it credit for.
Yeah,
Sorry, Sarah.
it was great.
Sorry. Well, that's all I have. So until next week, goodbye, everyone.
Bye.